Have you ever wondered why love is both the most beautiful and the most confusing thing in life? Why do some relationships last forever, while others fall apart despite all efforts? Do men love with their minds or their hearts? What truly governs their love? Some men remain rational and carefully consider every decision in love, while others love wholeheartedly, regardless of the consequences. A rational man prioritizes responsibility and reality, while a man who loves with his heart is easily swayed by emotions and willing to sacrifice everything for love. So, what are the clear differences between these two types of men? And can a man find a balance between reason and emotion in love? Welcome to the channel, Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is a place where every story and lesson about love will help you find the answers you seek. Today, we will explore a fresh perspective on 7 signs to recognize if a man loves with his mind or his heart. Watch now to understand men's psychology. Stay with Sophia, because the most unexpected and exciting things are still ahead. Before we begin, find a quiet place, put on your headphones, and relax your mind. Let the insights in this video help you fully experience and cherish every meaningful moment. Are you ready for this journey? Let's go! Part 1. Signs a man loves with his mind. Sign 1. Carefully considering before falling in love. Men who love with their minds do not easily let their hearts take the lead. Before entering a relationship, they take time to analyze and evaluate carefully to ensure that their love is not just based on fleeting emotions but has a solid foundation. Unlike those who love impulsively, rational men ask themselves many questions before starting a relationship. Is she the right match for me? Do we share the same life values? Does this relationship have a future? They assess everything from personality, values, and family background to long-term goals. This helps them minimize the risks of reckless or blind love. Such men also tend to have a list of criteria for the woman they want to be with. These are not necessarily rigid or overly demanding requirements, but they reflect their desire for a stable and lasting relationship. If a woman makes their heart flutter but does not meet their key criteria, they can suppress their emotions and choose not to pursue the relationship further. This careful consideration does not mean they are cold or unromantic. They can still love deeply, but their love is placed within the boundaries of self-control. They understand that emotions are temporary, while a lifelong commitment requires the companionship of someone truly compatible. For them, love is not just a feeling but a decision that must be carefully thought through. Because of this, men who love with their minds rarely fall into fleeting relationships or aimless romances. Once they decide to love someone, they tend to be serious, sincere, and willing to take responsibility for their choice. This makes them trustworthy partners in love, even though they may sometimes be misunderstood as too rational or lacking emotion. In reality, this is simply their way of protecting themselves from unnecessary heartbreak and ensuring that their love is built on the strongest foundation possible. Sign 2. Mastering emotional control. Men who love with their minds do not let emotions overpower their thoughts. Whether in moments of happiness or heartbreak, they remain calm and do not allow love to cloud their judgment. This sets them apart from men who love with their hearts, those who openly express their emotions impulsively, sometimes losing control over their words and actions. For rational men, they understand that emotions are temporary, while actions and decisions are what truly shape the future. When facing conflicts in love, instead of reacting with anger, frustration, or making hasty decisions, they choose to restrain themselves, listen, and analyze the situation objectively. This is why they rarely engage in thoughtless behaviors such as unreasonable jealousy, excessive blame, or saying hurtful words in the heat of the moment. This emotional control is evident even when they are deeply in love. They do not express their affection in an overwhelming or overly passionate manner, nor do they devote their entire being to their partner to the point of losing themselves. They maintain their independence and do not let love consume their entire life. This makes them reliable and steady men in any circumstance. However, because of their strong emotional control, they may sometimes be misunderstood as cold or indifferent. In reality, they still love sincerely, they simply choose to express their love in a composed and rational way. They may not frequently say sweet words, but they show their love through practical actions, thoughtful gestures, and always being there when their partner needs them. A man who knows how to control his emotions is not unfeeling, rather, he understands that love is not just about moments of passion, but also about patience, rationality, and resilience in the face of challenges. This control allows him to sustain a stable relationship, unaffected by fleeting emotions, and to always cherish his love in a meaningful way. Everyone has different perspectives, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Leave a comment below, and let's discuss. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join me in future videos. Let's continue this journey together. Sign 3. Love comes with responsibility. Men who love with their minds do not rely solely on emotions, they place love within the framework of responsibility. To them, love is not just about sweet moments or romantic promises, it is a long-term commitment that comes with dedication and a sense of duty toward the one they love. From the very beginning of a relationship, they think seriously about the future. They do not love just because of a fleeting spark but also consider what they can offer their partner, whether they have the ability to protect and take care of the one they love. Once they decide to take things further, they do not let love remain just words, they demonstrate it through real actions, thoughtful care, perseverance in building a shared future, and the willingness to take on responsibilities when needed. A rational man does not make empty promises. If he says he will stay by someone's side, it means he has thought it through and is prepared to take responsibility for his words. He does not give up easily in the face of difficulties, nor does he make excuses to avoid responsibility when challenges arise in the relationship. To him, love is not something to experiment with or play around with, it is an important part of life that must be nurtured and preserved. However, because they value responsibility so much, they can sometimes come across as overly pragmatic. They may not spend too much time on grand romantic gestures or sweet displays of affection, but that does not mean they do not love. They express their love in their own way, through stability, commitment, and the ability to be a strong pillar of support for the woman beside them. In a world where many people fall in love quickly, driven by emotions, only to leave just as quickly when faced with difficulties, men who love with their minds are the ones women can truly rely on. They do not love just for the sake of loving. They love to build, to commit, and to become responsible men in their relationships. Sign 4. Not being blinded by love. Men who love with their minds always maintain their clarity, even when deeply in love. They do not let emotions overpower their reasoning, nor do they get swept away by fleeting feelings and lose sight of reality. This sets them apart from men who love with their hearts, those who are willing to do anything without thinking, simply because of an intense love. For rational men, they understand that love is not always rosy. No matter whom they love, they have certain principles and do not allow themselves to be controlled by emotions. If a relationship shows signs of instability, they do not cling to it irrationally, nor do they let infatuation blind them to warning signs. They are willing to fight for love, but if they realize that the relationship does not bring happiness or has no future, they have the strength to let go. One of the clearest signs of a rational man in love is that he does not place his partner on an absolute pedestal. He loves and cherishes his partner, but he does not lose himself in the process. He does not sacrifice unconditionally or endure suffering just because he fears losing love. If he notices unfairness in the relationship or feels emotionally manipulated, he is clear-headed enough to walk away rather than stubbornly holding on. This clarity helps them avoid the mistakes that many people make in love. They are not easily deceived, do not let sweet words obscure the truth, and do not allow emotions to disrupt the balance in their lives. They love while maintaining their stance, respecting love without idealizing it to the point of becoming blind. Though they may sometimes be perceived as unromantic or too practical, this very awareness helps them build strong and lasting relationships. They do not love merely for the sake of temporary feelings but with a clear understanding, ensuring that every decision in love is a wise choice rather than a regret in the future. Sign 5. Being realistic in love. Men who love with their minds do not let themselves get lost in unrealistic fantasies about love. They understand that a relationship cannot survive solely on sweet promises or fleeting emotions. It requires practicality, stability, and a clear direction for the future. For them, love is not just about romantic dates, passionate declarations, or impulsive emotional moments. They care about how both partners can support each other in life, overcome challenges together, and build a solid foundation for the future. They do not love just for the sake of love, they love with long-term goals, carefully considering where the relationship is heading. One of the key traits of rational men in love is that they do not get caught up in illusions of a perfect relationship. They recognize that every relationship will have conflicts, arguments, and difficulties. Instead of expecting a love free from hardships, they accept the reality that love requires effort, understanding, and sometimes even sacrifices from both sides. Their practicality is also evident in how they view finances, family, and stability in love. They do not paint an overly rosy picture or chase after unrealistic emotions. Instead, they think about how both partners can grow together. This might lead to misunderstandings that they are too pragmatic, but in reality, this is how they ensure that love is not just a beautiful feeling but something that can withstand real-life challenges. These men tend to be clear and direct in how they express their emotions. They may not frequently use flowery words, but they show their care through meaningful actions. They do not just make promises about the future, they create concrete plans to make it happen. This practicality makes them reliable partners, providing a sense of security and stability in love. For men who love with their minds, love is not everything, but it is an essential part of life. And to make love truly meaningful, they always place it within the framework of reality rather than drifting into dreams without a solid foundation. Sign 6. Love is not everything. For men who love with their minds, love is important but not the sole force that dictates their lives. They understand that beyond love, there are careers, family, social relationships, and personal goals that also require attention. As a result, they never let themselves become so deeply consumed by love that they forget about other valuable aspects of life. These men do not place love above all else because they believe that a lasting relationship cannot rely solely on emotions. They understand that for love to truly endure, both partners must have their own lives and goals rather than revolving entirely around each other. This is why they are not the type to give up everything for a relationship or put their partner at the center of their existence. When in love, they still show care and affection for their partner, but they do not neglect their work, abandon personal dreams, or disregard family responsibilities. They believe that a truly valuable man is not someone who lives only for love but someone who can balance love with other aspects of life. For them, an ideal relationship is not one that consumes all their thoughts and time but one that helps them grow and evolve alongside their partner. Because of this perspective, men who love with their minds may sometimes be misunderstood as distant or emotionally detached. They do not constantly text or call their partners excessively, nor do they express love in overly dramatic ways. However, this does not mean they do not cherish the relationship. Instead, they express their love through stability, ensuring that their life remains on track and their relationship is not driven solely by fleeting emotions. For rational men in love, love is an essential part of life, but it is not everything. They believe that for a relationship to truly thrive, both partners must have their own space and know how to balance emotions with reality. After all, only when each individual has a fulfilling life can love truly be meaningful and complete. Sign 7. rarely expressing love through words or actions. Men who love with their minds are often not skilled at expressing emotions through words or romantic gestures. They may love deeply, but instead of openly showcasing their affection, they choose to demonstrate it through practical actions and stability in the relationship. This can sometimes make their partner feel that they are distant or indifferent, but that is not the case. Unlike men who love emotionally, those who frequently say sweet words or create romantic surprises, rational men tend to be reserved in expressing their feelings. They do not often say "I love you," nor do they frequently express love through gifts or affectionate gestures. Instead, they prove their love through commitment, responsibility, and the way they treat their partner in everyday life. For them, love does not need to be extravagant. They may not show much through outward actions, but they quietly care for and think about their partner in their own way. For example, they may not say words of love every day, but they will remember the little details about their partner, listen, and understand when needed. They may not express affection through expensive gifts, but instead, they offer their unwavering presence and reliability when their partner needs support. However, because of this lack of outward expression, they are sometimes misunderstood as being indifferent or lacking in affection. In reality, their love is not like a raging storm but a steady, enduring current that lasts over time. They love with stability, placing the relationship in a balance between emotion and reason. With such a man, it is important to understand his love language. He may not often say sweet words, but he will always strive to provide a sense of security. He may not be great at expressing love through romantic gestures, but he will always be there when his partner needs him. That is how he loves, not flashy, not loud, but steadfast and sincere. If you are still watching this video, don't hesitate to comment "Continue." Share your thoughts and questions in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to support Sophia in creating more meaningful and valuable videos. Let's keep going together. Part 2. Signs of a man who loves with his heart. Sign 1. Loves without a reason. Men who love with their hearts do not need a specific reason to love someone. They do not weigh love on a scale of benefits and losses, nor do they overanalyze the future or practical factors. For them, love is a natural emotion, stemming from genuine feelings without being bound by logic or rigid standards. When in love, these men may not care about circumstances, status, or external factors. They do not need to know whether the woman is perfect or not. If their heart beats for her, that is enough. This is an instinctive kind of love, no calculations, no hesitation, just pure love driven by emotions. Because of this, they easily fall deeply in love, giving their all without concern for what they might receive in return. A man who loves with his heart often acts spontaneously and emotionally. He might unexpectedly show up with a bouquet of flowers just because he misses his partner, travel hundreds of miles just to see her, or devote all his time and energy to the woman he loves without thinking much about the consequences. For him, love is not a puzzle that needs solving, it is a natural flow he willingly allows himself to be swept away by. However, because they love without a reason, they can sometimes become blinded by love. They may overlook red flags, ignore incompatibilities, simply because their heart tells them this person is their true love. At times, this unconditional devotion makes them vulnerable, but it is also what makes their love so precious, a pure love that is not influenced by any materialistic factors. For these men, love is not a calculated choice but a powerful feeling that comes from the heart. They love because they want to, because they cannot help but love, and because, to them, love is a magical thing that needs no explanation. Sign 2. Easily influenced by emotions. Men who love with their hearts prioritize emotions above all else, making them highly susceptible to the ups and downs of love. Unlike those who love with logic and maintain composure, they allow their feelings to dictate their actions, thoughts, and decisions. When happy, they will do anything to bring joy to their partner. They surprise their loved one with gifts, dedicate all their time to them, and even sacrifice personal interests just to see their partner smile. They love passionately, intensely, and are never afraid to express their feelings in the most direct way. However, because they are so emotionally driven, they are also easily affected by small things in a relationship. A careless remark from their partner can make them overthink for hours, and a moment of coldness can leave them feeling anxious or heartbroken. If they feel hurt, they struggle to hide their sadness and may react strongly, sometimes impulsively. They might dwell on their sorrow for a long time or act on emotions without fully considering the consequences. In love, they are prone to jealousy or fear of losing their partner. Even subtle changes in their partner's behavior can make them feel insecure, doubtful, or eager to seek reassurance. Sometimes, this leads to uncontrollable actions, such as constantly texting, trying to hold on tightly to their partner, or feeling deeply disappointed when they do not receive the attention they expect. Yet, this emotional sensitivity also makes them incredibly sincere and devoted lovers. They do not hide their feelings, are unafraid of getting hurt, and always give their all in love. They may be easily swayed by emotions, but they also bring warmth, genuine care, and unwavering dedication that not every man possesses. Loving a man like this may mean witnessing his vulnerability and emotional fluctuations, but it also means experiencing a love that is deep, authentic, and wholehearted. For them, love is not something to be controlled, it is something they surrender to completely. Sign 3. Always wants to spend time with their loved one. When a man loves with his heart, he always wants to be with the person he loves as much as possible. For him, love is not just an emotion but also a connection built through shared moments. He does not calculate whether the time spent together is too much or too little, he simply wants to be close, to share, and to experience love in the most sincere way. This type of man actively arranges his schedule to meet, text, call, or do anything that helps him feel connected to his partner. He does not see spending time with his loved one as an obligation, but rather as something he genuinely desires. No matter how busy he is, he will find ways to be present in his partner's life, even if it's just a short phone call or a caring message in the middle of the day. Additionally, he enjoys experiencing new things with his loved one. From simple dates and long trips to ordinary moments like cooking together, watching movies, or strolling through the streets, these experiences bring him happiness. He believes that spending time together not only strengthens the relationship but also helps both partners understand each other better and build beautiful memories. However, because he values togetherness so much, he may unintentionally become dependent on the relationship. If he cannot meet or communicate frequently, he may feel empty, miss his partner deeply, and even become anxious. Sometimes, this strong desire for closeness might put pressure on his partner or make them feel like they have less personal space. Nevertheless, his love always comes from a place of sincerity. He does not want to miss any moment with his loved one because, to him, love is not just about words but about presence, care, and truly being there. And it is this deep longing for connection that makes his love passionate, profound, and full of emotion. Sign 4. Willing to sacrifice for their loved one. When a man loves with his heart, he does not hesitate to make sacrifices to bring happiness to the person he loves. He does not focus on what he gains or loses but simply wants to do everything possible to protect, care for, and support his partner. These sacrifices often come in small, everyday acts. He is willing to stay up late just to listen to his loved one's thoughts, wake up early to pick them up even when he is exhausted, or change his habits and preferences to better align with his partner. These actions are not done out of obligation but because he genuinely finds joy in doing something for the person he loves. For these men, love means devotion. If their partner is facing difficulties, they will immediately look for ways to help, even putting aside their work or personal plans to be there for comfort and support. They do not just express love through words but demonstrate it through actions, through their care, and by prioritizing their loved one in many important decisions. However, this willingness to sacrifice can sometimes cause them to forget their own worth. They may tolerate hardships, endure difficulties in the relationship, or even suppress their own needs just to avoid upsetting their partner. If they do not learn to balance their sacrifices, they risk losing themselves or becoming overly dependent on love, leading to emotional pain when their efforts are not reciprocated as they hoped. Nevertheless, their sacrifices always come from a place of genuine love. They do not seek repayment, do not calculate benefits, but simply love with all their heart. And it is this quality that makes them ideal partners, men who are willing to give everything for the ones they love. Sign 5. Loves to show affection. A man who loves with his heart does not hide his emotions. He enjoys expressing his love naturally, whether through words, actions, or small gestures in daily life. To him, love is not something to be kept secret but something to be expressed, something worth sharing with the world so that everyone knows he is in love and happy. This type of man is not afraid to shower his loved one with sweet words and daily expressions of care. He frequently conveys his feelings through messages, calls, or direct verbal affection. He believes that showing emotions not only strengthens the relationship but also makes his partner feel valued and loved. Beyond words, he also loves expressing his emotions through actions. A surprise hug, holding hands in public, or a gentle kiss are all ways he demonstrates his love. He does not hesitate to show affection openly and is always ready to offer his partner care and attention wherever they are. To him, even the smallest gestures, like brushing her hair aside, pulling out a chair, fastening a seatbelt, or simply gazing at her with warmth, are ways of saying "I love you." Additionally, he enjoys creating romantic moments. A surprise dinner, a spontaneous trip together, or even a small gift on an ordinary day, these are all ways he expresses his love sincerely. He wants his partner to feel his affection not just through words but through meaningful actions. However, sometimes excessive displays of affection might make his partner feel overwhelmed or in need of more personal space. But for a man who loves with his heart, he does not express affection out of control or possessiveness, he does it simply because that is how he feels love in its fullest form. He does not believe in keeping emotions hidden or loving in silence. To him, love must be expressed, felt, and shown in the most genuine way possible. Sign 6. Finds it hard to let go when loving deeply. A man who loves with his heart does not only love passionately but also finds it incredibly difficult to let go once he has given his whole heart to someone. To him, love is not something that can be easily replaced or forgotten. It is something deeply tied to emotions, memories, and even his soul. Once he loves deeply, he is willing to sacrifice and endure hardships just to preserve the relationship. When a man like this goes through a breakup, it is not just the end of a relationship, it is a profound emotional wound. He does not move on easily or look for someone new just to fill the void. Instead, he often drowns himself in memories, torments himself over unresolved matters, and even blames himself for not being able to hold on to the love. Many men of this type are willing to hold on, even when they know the relationship is no longer the same. They try to mend things, hoping love can still be saved. Even when their rational mind tells them it is time to let go, their heart refuses to accept it. They continue holding on to old habits, reminiscing about past moments, and finding it difficult to open their heart to someone new. This inability to let go is not just because of deep love but also because of their sincerity and wholehearted commitment to the relationship. When they love, they do not keep anything for themselves, they give all their emotions, care, and sacrifices. That is why, when love falls apart, they feel as though they have lost an essential part of their life. However, this loyalty and deep respect for love also make them some of the most trustworthy and devoted partners in a relationship. Once they love with all their heart, and when they finally let go, it is not because they wanted to, it is because they have spent too much time learning how to accept the loss. Sign 7. Loves wholeheartedly without overthinking. A man who loves with his heart does not let logic interfere too much in his emotions. When he loves with all his heart, without calculating gains and losses or setting conditions. To him, love is a pure emotion, a sincere connection that does not require excessive consideration or hesitation. He does not question whether his partner is worthy or whether the relationship brings any personal benefits. As long as his heart feels the connection, he is willing to enter the relationship without worrying too much about the future or practical factors. Because of this, he is willing to devote himself completely to love, spending time, effort, and making sacrifices to ensure his partner's happiness. A man who loves with his heart does not measure who gives more in the relationship. He does not hesitate to take the initiative, nor does he fear being at a disadvantage or getting hurt. He may willingly change himself, adjust his habits, and even give up personal desires just to be more compatible with his partner. To him, love is about giving his whole heart, not engaging in a fair exchange of benefits. Because he does not overthink, he is more vulnerable when love does not go as expected. He may love blindly, failing to recognize the signs that his partner no longer cherishes the relationship. And when faced with heartbreak, he takes longer to heal compared to those who love with logic. However, this wholeheartedness is what makes his love so precious. He does not love half-heartedly or keep an escape route for himself. When he loves, he gives everything he has, lives fully in the moment, and places complete trust in the relationship. This makes him one of the most sincere, romantic, and treasured partners. Conclusion. A man's love can be guided by either logic or the heart, and each approach has its own unique characteristics. A man who loves with logic carefully considers before entering a relationship, maintains emotional control, values responsibility, and stays rational in love. He is practical, does not let emotions completely dominate his life, and is less likely to express romance openly. On the other hand, a man who loves with his heart fully immerses himself in his emotions. He loves passionately, is easily influenced by feelings, always wants to spend time with his partner, and is willing to make sacrifices to protect his love. He does not overanalyze, is unafraid to express affection, and finds it difficult to let go once he has loved deeply. Whether a man loves with logic or his heart, each has his own way of expressing love. A logical man may offer security and stability, while a man who loves with his heart brings passion and romance. Neither approach is superior or inferior. What matters most is compatibility between both partners in a relationship. A lasting love is not just about intense emotions, it also requires understanding, respect, and a balance between logic and the heart. A man who can harmonize these two aspects will experience a love that is both deep and enduring. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope these insights on love and the lessons shared in this video have given you fresh perspectives and a sense of connection. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those around you. We all have our own love stories, and I'm delighted to explore them with you. See you in the next video. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with love.